Hey gang, it's Trevor, one of your hosts of the Holo Help podcast. And before we jump into today's conversation, which I enjoyed, I want to ask a favor. If you will subscribe or like the show, what that's going to do is it's going to allow these platforms to continue to share the Holo Help podcast with new listeners. It's going to push out the message of true health. And we want to do this so people can fully understand what health actually is, and that when they pursue a truly healthy life, everything changes. So thank you for doing that. Now, in today's episode, we're talking all things social media and sharing content on social media. You see, Alex and I were having a conversation and we just decided to start recording. After all, most people share their best and hide the rest on social media. But what does a truly healthy person do? How do you share stuff on social media from a place of wanting to encourage and inspire other people? Well, listen to today's conversation because you're going to find a little bit more understanding the true health motivation on why we do certain things and how that can be applied to social media. We hope you enjoy this conversation. Listeners, welcome back to another episode of the Holo Help podcast. Alex and I were just talking about some stuff that I'm processing with him, all about motivation and encouraging and inspiring people. So we just decided to start recording. This is super impromptu. This will be shared as a short, nugget in the episode for you guys. But I want to hear us talking through this and processing. One, I think it's always great to process things with like-minded people that can speak truth over it. But also, this is explaining and kind of diving deeper into the true health motivation. Again, the motivation, the underlying motivation in which we pursue health and share about our health. So the context here, listeners, is that I love all things health. I mean, I do. I want to live a truly healthy life. And in the same vein, I want to share that message with other people. A vehicle for sharing that message is social media. But I fight this tension on, I would say a weekly basis because I don't, I'm not like waking up thinking about posting. But on a weekly basis, I fight this tension of wanting to go share something, but holding back to do it because I feel like it comes across in an arrogant way. And so Alex and I, before we even started this recording, we're just
Trevor,
talking about.
be specific about what you're actually sharing, because you don't feel this way when you post a picture of a salad. You're specifically talking about like when you work out.
Yeah. So great point, Alex. I feel that way most often when I'm either sharing a post that could be just like a still image or a picture of dumbbells with what the workout is, or if I'm sharing a video of me lifting or moving in some fashion and it includes a workout. So it's typically around the workouts. And it just comes back to like, I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm not trying to flex. I'm not trying to come across as this is all I care about. And it's super interesting because I see that a lot on Instagram, and I'm not trying to demonize or, point the finger at anyone, but I see it a lot on Instagram where the content is very clearly about them, their success, their lifts, their progress. And that's just not what I want. So Alex and I were starting to process it, and I was like, man, let's just start recording because somebody's going to listen to this and be able to either have a one-to-one relatability or contextualize it to something that, you're experiencing.
Trevor, do you think it's possible to post a successful workout clip, speaking of true health, without it being prideful? Because that's what we were talking about. It's the true health motivation. We want to shine the light on true health on others and use our health as a stewardship. But it's like when I post a successful back squat at over 400 pounds, the natural cultural undertow says, oh, look at me, look what I did. But that's not true health. True health says, hey, look what I can do, look what God has given me. So do you think that it's a one-to-one? Like every time I post a highlight, it says, look at me. Like, do you think it's always prideful?
No, I don't think it always has to be prideful, but I do think there has to be this check with yourself internally if that's the case. Because I think I think that might be the like default for most of us, right? It's like, dude, I just hit that 415 back squat. I'm posting that. Even that in of itself is like, come on, you want to post it because Like you want to brag a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
you want
And
celebration. You want people to tell you how good you did.
right. And I actually don't believe there's anything wrong with sharing a milestone that you've been working towards. But I do think the words and the vernacular you use around that are extremely important. But obviously, like in an Instagram story with, me hitting a couple back squats, it's like I can only type so much. Um,
Yeah.
that's where my head goes with it.
Well,
But you're
Trevor,
spot on. I mean, the true health motivation is
yeah.
like being the salt and the light of the earth, using your health to honor and glorify the Lord, not to glorify yourself and make your own name great.
Listeners, I asked this question before we recorded, and we're like, we need to record this. I asked the question, I said, okay, let's say we're working out in a group class setting, and we're just videoing our workout. Let's say me and Trevor are over there doing whatever workout, and then we post it. What is the difference between the 20 people in class watching us versus the several hundred people or several thousand people on social media watching? Like, what's the difference between you successfully doing that in person versus you just creating a digital version of that and posting it for whoever wants to see that? Where's the difference in motivation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know that. I think the difference, if I had to break it down, and then I have a secondary thought to this, would be the workout in the class is like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be doing this. And if we're filming it, it's typically like, hey, let's check out this lift. We're not always like filming, the fast parts of the workout, the Metcon, if you will. But more often than not, we'll film the lifts. A lot of that's for like self analysis, but a lot of it's like, hey, I've tried this before. I know what it looked and felt like. I'd like to see what it actually. I'm going to do this, and then I would like to visually be able to see it as well. And so it's not even really a thought of those people around me. But if I had, man, I actually have a lot of thoughts. This is great. We're talking about this. The secondary thought is that it takes a lot more conscious choice to post that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Whereas in the class setting, it's not, it's just like happening, Again,
Sure.
it's not like, I'm not being like, hey, 7:30 class, look at me. I'm just like, Alex, will you video this? And I'm going to try this, the jerk or whatever. So I think it takes a little bit more of a conscious choice. But then even to dive even further into it as I'm processing this out loud with you, Alex, is the people in the 7:30 know Trevor. Like they know me. Whether they know me on like a deeper level or just like a pretty, a little bit more than a surface level, I believe the best in them, that they also believe the best in me. I'm not doing this out of like a conceited vein, or it's that my driver behind doing this lift and asking you to video it, or for them or me doing this workout and recording it, is not to say, hey, look at me. It's just something that I'm doing to either help make myself better as an athlete or to want to be able to share and encourage people. I would say the reverse is not true on Instagram, or not as commonly true. Okay. If I've got 2,000 followers, not all those 2,000 followers see that same Trevor when they look at a story that the 7:30 class members do that I would see on a regular basis. Does that make sense?
Let me ask you this. How does the 7:30 class know you?
I mean, it's cultivate community, the things we talked about in the last.
You talk with them. You do life with them.
Yeah.
They get to know you. Where
shared passion, time, task, suffering, all of those things.
Yeah, it's what we talk about with habit number 6. But here's what I was kind of getting at is they know you because you've given them an opportunity to know you, that you've been in the class, you've done life with, you've had conversations with. Because if a new person walked in at 7:30 and saw the same thing, they could bridge the gap and be like, oh, hey, he's really into himself, he's really fit, because that is the natural motivation for 99% of other people that are just pursuing culture's version of health. That if someone new walked in the gym watching you hit a PR in a back squat, the assumption would be, oh man, he's going to post that just to get people to look at him. But here's the thing. The minute people talk to you, or the minute people talk to me, or the minute someone talks about true health, they realize that there's something different, that the motivation is different, which is what I was kind of getting at is if the consistent messaging on your social media is easily, look at me, look at me, look at me. All I have are posts. All I have are my posts with my shirts off. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's pretty easy to kind of deduce down to, oh, hey, this is a pretty like Trevor-centered page. But when you look at, okay, I come across Trevor, I don't know him, and then I see that he did a 400+ pound back squat. Then I'm like, okay, I want to get to know about this. But then all the other fitness accounts are highlights and do this and shirt off pictures. But then I come over to Trevor's page and it's like, oh wow, he's sharing Bible verses and he's sharing where he's struggling and he's sharing this thing about true health and he's talking about, I don't want to be the healthiest version of myself. I want to be a more accurate representation of Jesus. The whole page now gives him an opportunity to bridge that gap differently than what most health and fitness influencers are. So I don't think Jesus always talks about the heart. Like, your heart needs to be pure. The pure heart will see the face of God.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's inherently wrong because that one post does not outweigh the whole message of true health as long as the consistent messaging is true health motivation. Look at others. Look at God. Hey, and look at what my body has been able to do while I'm stewarding my health well. But yeah, I've been working towards this goal. I would love to squat over 400 pounds, but it's not just that one-off instance that someone's going to base you off of. They have the opportunity to scroll through your entire page and be like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, like, this is different. How does that land?
No, yeah, that definitely sits a lot better. It's looking at the whole pie instead of a piece of it or part of it, like you're saying. I think a part of it that I'm just thinking and processing out loud, listeners, hope you're enjoying this commentary and just can relate it to your own life, is the natural pull of social media to have a little bit of fear-based thoughts behind stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then, I'm not very far from perfect. And so it's not like I get on Instagram and I'm like,
wait. From your audio,
never.
it literally sounded like you said, I'm not far off from perfect. Or
Sorry,
let me just correct
very,
that. You're very far off.
from
It sounded like you
perfect.
said, yeah, I'm not far off from perfect. I was like, no, that's not what we're
No,
getting at. That's not true.
that's not the case. That's very far from the case.
Like, you might be
But
far from perfect. I'm not far. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah,
Anyways.
no, but what I'm saying is, like, I do struggle with those things from time to time, and that's why spending time off social media is so important, and having boundaries around social media is important. However, it doesn't mean that every single time you get on there or want to share something, there's not a thought that goes through your mind, whether it's a fear-based thought or even if it's not true, if it's just a lie of, hey, if I share this, somebody's like going to take it the wrong way. But then there's on the flip side of that coin, it's like, hey, you can have the best intentions and share things with such a great heart and messaging, and people will take it how they're going to take it. You can't guarantee that someone's going to read something exactly how you say it, even if you have the clearest language.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but it's just something I wanted to talk about.
Here's the last thing I would say, something to think about in this whole equation is, if you share workout highlight photos and videos on your social media, I think that is one way that it gives you moral authority to the message of true health. Because when someone comes across and says, oh, wow, let's just continue on the example of a 400-pound back squat. They see Trevor squat 400 pounds and they're like, whoa, what's he doing? I want to know what he's doing. And then all of a sudden he looks and it's like, wait, how did this guy get here to such a place of health, both physically and mentally and emotionally, relationally? And it gives you moral authority to speak into true health, not only because of like, hey, this is what my body can do because of God's strength through me, but also it's not even my motivation to keep getting better and better for myself. So it gives you almost like this place to share and this like this opening of communication to be like, hey, I've been able to do this, but this is not out of vanity. It's out of ability. This is not out of look at me. It's look what God has done through me. I think it would lean in as like, if I had a mentor, a business mentor that I was working with, but I never knew his business acumen. I never knew what he was able to do, but he was helping me reach my goals. Okay, great. He's an amazing mentor. He's an amazing coach. But then the moment I understand that he started 5 businesses that each have grossed over $50 million, I'd be like, holy cow, like, you just went so much higher in my books. And not that it
Mhm.
was discrediting like the achievement he was helping me with before, but it just gave him so much more moral authority because he opened up and said, "Hey, I've been there and this is what I've been able to do. This is why my impact and influence on you is like worth listening to because I'm doing it myself." Like the coach needs to be able to at least say, "Hey, I've been there and I've done that." And I think it kind of gives a spot like,
Yeah.
"Hey, when we're stewarding our body well, I'm the exact same way. I want to post when I go on my 10-mile run that, hey, look what I've done." But in context of true health, it's, "Hey, look what I've done, and I want to inspire you to do it as well." Not just, "Hey, look at me." Or like, "Hey, look
Mhm.
at this, and I've been training for this, and God, thank you so much." So it gives you moral authority to be able to speak into this message differently. So that's my last thought.
That's it. So, listeners, I hope you enjoyed this little short nugget of an episode all on the true health motivation. Sounds like I might be sharing a little bit more content frequently on social media per my advisor and good friend Alex. But seriously, the true health motivation, it comes down to just like Alex said, what is
What's your why?
the intention and the purpose in which you are living out the calling to be healthy in every area? Alex
Last thing I'll say is,
Alex has
Trevor,
something he wants to say.
this is the practical application of habit number 4, increasing clarity. This is why
100%.
out of the 7 habits of health, I think my favorite one is increasing clarity
It's
because
my favorite, or it's probably not my favorite. It's the one I suck at the most. This is why we're doing a short nugget of an episode to increase clarity.
it has the power of life and death. It has so much potential to change your life because it is revealing what is going inside through the art of self-awareness and confession and community, but revealing, hey, what is my true intention in this? And God, I want you to refine and remove all of the gunk and pride and self-centeredness in my heart so that I can use this body as a temple and a vessel to steward well and inspire others in the same vein. We need that muscle, the self-awareness muscle, strong and healthy. And this is just a practical way to do that. So literally, this is almost like an application of habit number 4, increasing clarity. If you don't know what the heck we're talking about, we have the 7 habits of health. We have an episode that we did on habit number 4, increasing clarity. Maybe we can put in the show notes. But go into our website, go to our podcast. You can learn more, reach out. But this is literally habit number 4.
Yeah, that's Alex telling me he wants me to put it in the show notes. But it's episode 71 of the Whole Health Podcast. I'll link it in the show notes. But listeners, again, the true health motivation, that's the why behind why you're pursuing health in every area, to be the salt and light of the earth, to bring glory to the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ. That is why we're doing it. So I'm encouraged and inspired by this practical application of self-awareness, increasing clarity, and just to keep sharing people and shining the light, pointing people to true health.
Amen.
Listeners, as always, if you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to click that follow button or that like button. What it's going to do is continue to help push the message of true health to more and more people through the algorithms of all of these podcasting platforms. We're grateful for you. You're a legend, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you.